Alright, g'day boys. I'm going to explain here how to write an excellent explanation of behavior. I want to make this video so you can rewatch it and I don't have to explain it 10 times in class, and I hope these video tutorials are going to be helpful. I'd say like and subscribe, leave a comment. You don't have to do that, but just tell me if they're helpful or not, right? In person is probably better. I'm going to explain the what, how, why, but approach, right? And this is what I'm looking for in excellent explanations, right? Remember, the goal of psychology is to explain behavior. So if that's resilience, stress, aggression, depression, learning, memory, whatever it might be, we want to explain how and why that happens, right? The goal of psychology, how and why do we think and act the way we do, right? So what, how, why, but. And let's look at how that works, right? So the what is like, what is the behavior you're explaining? So you want to show that you know that. What is depression? What is resilience? What is aggression? What is attraction? Whatever it is you're trying to explain, begin with what it is. What that also does in terms of structure, it gives it a nice broad opening to your explanation, right? It gives context for your reader, right? Or if you're making a video, context for your viewer. This is what I'm going to write about. So we begin with the what. And so the what, let's call that our variable B, right? That's the thing we're trying to explain. Also, our what is what is influencing that behavior. What's our explanation? Is it a biological, cognitive, psychological explanation? Let me use an example from criminology and aggression here to make things a bit more concrete. So I might begin with what is aggression? Define it, okay? That's what I'm trying to explain, right? Now, here, I might define and explain what is my variable that I'm going to use to explain aggression. Okay, so let's take it something from biology, the biological approach. So I might look at something like testosterone, okay? So that's my what. What is testosterone? What is aggression? Now, how does testosterone influence aggression? What I'm looking for here is, what is it about testosterone? Is it high levels? Is it low levels? Is it abnormality? Is it a mutation? What is the link there? And so how does testosterone link with aggression? So we know higher testosterone links with higher aggression. This is the how. Now I want to establish this argument in my explanation. I need to convince my reader and show, look, I understand that this variable, higher testosterone for example, influences this particular behavior. And then I want to solidify that argument, so I need some studies. What's some good evidence to show that high testosterone leads to aggression, right? Or that locus of control leads to resilience or stress, okay? Or that the comp gene influences stress. What's some good evidence there? So this is where, say, correlational studies are useful, maybe a basic animal experiment, maybe even a human experiment. But you want to have and choose a study that supports and solidifies that argument that, look, this variable is definitely related to this particular behavior. But the problem with that is it's just kind of limited. High testosterone leads to aggression. Okay, sure, begin with that. It strengthens your argument. It gives a good foundation to what you're going to explain, but it's limited because there's no reason why, and that's where we get into the why. So we need then to introduce a reason why that behavior is connected. So this is probably going to be my variable C. Okay, and so often we might say, look, in a part of the brain, or is this a social factor? Is this a cognitive factor? Is testosterone doing something to the mind? Is testosterone doing something to the brain? Is testosterone doing something to our environment that is then leading to the aggression? For example, now this is really important though, we always need the studies to support this, okay? So we know from studies like Gutz on testosterone and aggression that actually high testosterone is going to increase activity in the amygdala when we're being threatened. And what do we know about the amygdala, right? That it activates when we need to be aggressive, and that's why testosterone is linked with aggression, okay? Maybe, for example, we know about the comp gene. The comp gene is going to influence enzyme production, right, which is going to influence brain activity, might influence the way we think. Locus of control could influence our eating behaviors, our health behaviors, and that affects how we behave in our stress and resilience. Okay, so there has to be, this is the why, all right? So, and you can almost follow this in the structure of your essay, right? Begin with the what to how, right? Have a study to support that, then get into the why and have a studies to support that. I think it makes sense in terms, you have the explanation first and then the supporting study. But if you want, you can put the study first and then the explanation beneath it, if that's more logical to you. So don't feel like you have to follow this format really strictly. Okay, there's room for flexibility here as long as you're covering all of these four aspects. All right, now we get into the, hopefully this makes sense, right? The what, how, the why, we need the but. This is the critical thinking, this is the evaluation. Okay, no one study in psychology proves anything. Testosterone is not the only factor that's going to affect behavior. There are limitations to every study. Okay, we have to consider multiple approaches, and that's what we're getting at with the but, right? So, some ways you can use a but. Is there something happening first? If this is testosterone levels, what might be influencing our testosterone levels? Is this another environmental factor? Is this another biological factor? Is there something else here? And this might inspire you to do some further research on your own. This is where you come up with a hypothesis. Well, okay, sure, we can't begin with the testosterone though, right? Isn't there something, why do some people have different levels of testosterone? Okay, and then you might pose a question, oh, I wonder if it's to do with genetics. Use Google Scholar. Is there a gene that's connected with testosterone production? Right? Look it up, find a study if there's, and then if you can find a supporting study, right? It's great you can just have just the question, that's okay, but if you can find a study that's to support that, fantastic, brilliant, do some more research. We can say, does this always link to this? Or are there some other factors, right? Are there some times when it might not? If we're saying testosterone is linking to the brain, right, and it influences the amygdala during times of social threat, well, what about other types of aggression? And that's another but. Is this going to explain all aggression or just a particular type of aggression? How is aggression being measured in the study, right? In this particular study with GOTS, they only measured the brain activity, right? Is an fMRI relevant and realistic in real life? Can we use studies from an fMRI to apply to why someone might kill someone in cold blood? Why not? That's critical thinking. Now, I'm not going to give you the answers to that because this is up to your critical thinking, and this is why this is really aiming for excellence down here, but it has to come at the end, right? You can't think critically about these variables, these factors, this explanation you provided until you fully understand the explanation. So begin with the what, right? What is aggression? What is testosterone? What is the biological approach? What is stress? What is resilience? What is the thing you're trying to explain? How are they linked, right? Use a study. Why are they linked? Use a study. And then go deeper and start asking some questions. But. If you want to read some examples, check the exemplars that I've written. Otherwise, I hope that was helpful. And always, right, come to me, ask questions, and I can always check your work. Before the due date, I will check work in class with you so I can give feedback side by side. Right? I don't like getting emails for students asking me to check their work before the due date outside of class. I just don't have the time to do it. Okay, cheers.